Everyone knew I had an enviable marriage and a wife who loved me dearly. But the day after she found out she was pregnant, I overheard her talking to her secretary. CEO Sarah Evans, you're pregnant now. What about Mr. Miller and Liam? Liam is already 3 years old. If Mr. Miller finds out about this. My wife's eyes were sharp. He absolutely cannot know about this. Tell David Miller to keep his mouth shut. Liam? 3 years old? Before I could understand what she meant, my phone vibrated. It was a photo from David Miller. In the photo, my wife held a little boy high in the air, her eyes full of doting affection and tenderness. I stumbled back to the master bedroom and called Emily, my sister, who works for an overseas security agency. Help me stage a fatal accident. I need to fake my death. I need to leave Sarah Evans. What's wrong, Robert? Sarah Evans is good to you, isn't she? What happened? I wanted to say something, but as soon as I opened my mouth, a wave of bitterness welled up in my eyes. Yes, everyone knew how good Sarah Evans was to me. 10 years ago, she fell in love with me at first sight and pursued me relentlessly. She was the only daughter of the Evans group, but I was just an orphan with no parents, relying solely on my sister. Everyone speculated that Sarah Evans was simply tired of the usual suitors and was pursuing me for novelty. Even I thought so. But she pursued me persistently for 5 years, until I finally agreed 5 years ago. She immediately announced it to the world and gave me a lavish wedding. Everyone thought it was her obsession from 5 years of unrequited love, otherwise, who would be in such a hurry to get married right after getting together? People waited eagerly to see when Sarah Evans would tire of me. But after we married, she personally disproved their theories with her actions. For 5 years, I remained the person she held closest to her heart. Even now, everyone in Oakhaven knows that Sarah Evans is decisive and invincible in the business world, and her only weakness is me. I understood Emily's question. Even I hadn't imagined that Sarah Evans would cheat on me. Although I said nothing, my sister on the other end of the line seemed to sense my emotions. After a long pause, she spoke softly. The night after tomorrow, I'll send a plane to pick you up. Leave the rest to me. After hanging up, I remained frozen in the position I was in while on the phone. Just then, my phone vibrated again. It was from David Miller. Robert Adams, did you see the photo? Are you still gloating about her pregnancy? Her son and I are already 3 years old. What does your child count for? Seeing this message confirmed all my recent suspicions. Sarah Evans had truly cheated. We had only been married for 5 years, yet her son with David Miller was already 3 years old. Thinking of this, I couldn't stand anymore and my knees buckled, sending me collapsing to the floor. My hands trembled as I recalled the 6 months 3 years ago when she wasn't with me. We had been married for just over a year then, and she said she had an overseas project requiring a long business trip. Now I realize she must have been close to showing then. That half year wasn't a business trip, she was having a baby. As I sat there, lost and helpless, Sarah Evans walked into the master bedroom and found me slumped on the floor. Robert, the floor is cold. Why are you sitting there? Are you not feeling well? Her face was full of concern, her beautiful eyes reflecting only me, almost exactly the same as every day for the past 5 years. I quietly locked my phone screen and forced a smile. My legs just felt weak for a moment. I guess I was so excited about becoming a father that I lost my balance. Sarah Evans finally breathed a sigh of relief and carefully helped me up from the floor. You naughty baby, causing trouble for daddy already? You little troublemaker, just wait until you're born, see how mommy deals with you. Oh, Robert, do you prefer a boy or a girl? I hope it's a girl. I want her to grow up like a little princess. There was nothing wrong with that sentence itself, but after what had just happened, I couldn't help but interpret it differently. Why a girl? Doesn't the Evans family always want a son to inherit the Evans group? Sarah Evans paused, then gently stroked the back of my hand. Boy or girl, it's all good. As long as it's our child, I'll love them. I lowered my gaze, not wanting to see the tenderness in her eyes. It disgusted me. Sarah Evans didn't notice my unease. Her eyes fell on her still flat abdomen. I have an appointment for tomorrow's checkup. We've been looking forward to this baby for so long, we can't afford any mistakes. If I hadn't just overheard her conversation with her secretary and received David Miller's message, I would have believed her completely. But now, I desperately wanted to confront her. Was this child truly the one you longed for? Do you want a daughter because you already have a son? I choked back the bitterness in my eyes and nodded at her. Let's go to bed, Sarah. I'm a little tired. Early the next morning, Sarah Evans and I were getting ready to go out when my phone buzzed again. It was David Miller. Do you think your child is more important, or mine is? Just as I finished reading that message, Sarah Evans's phone rang. She waved me off and went to the balcony to take the call. After a while, Sarah Evans came back to me, her face full of apology, and gently took my hand. Robert, something urgent came up at the company. I have to go now. Don't worry, I'll contact you as soon as I finish work, and we'll go for the checkup together. I've already made arrangements with the doctor, you can just go there directly in a bit. Saying this, Sarah Evans didn't even wait for my reply, grabbed her coat from the sofa, and rushed out the door. I closed my eyes, trying to hold back the tears that were threatening to spill. When I opened them again, Sarah Evans had already opened the door and left. I took a deep breath, wanting to give her and the baby in her belly one last chance. Sarah, are you really leaving? Can't you stay? Sarah Evans paused, a hint of hesitation in her eyes, but after a moment, she smiled and spoke to me. Be a good Robert. I'll finish work as soon as possible and come back to be with you. Be good. The heavy sound of the door closing echoed, and my tears finally fell in large drops. 2 hours later, the driver dropped me off at the hospital on time. Sarah Evans and I completed all the examinations as arranged by the doctor. As soon as we finished, Sarah Evans excused herself, citing urgent company matters, and left in a hurry again. I sat alone on the hospital bench, examining the ultrasound report carefully. In the black and white image, there was a small circle the size of a peanut. The doctor said that was my child. I don't know how much time passed before another text message arrived. See? All I have to do is tell her the child is crying and looking for his mommy, and she'll drop everything important and rush to my side. I opened the picture that came with the message. The little boy sat in a blue high chair, and Sarah Evans was focused on feeding him breakfast, her eyes full of doting affection and tenderness. The little boy giggled, his mouth full, looking incredibly cute. I had fantasized about this scene countless times, but I never expected to see it this way. I could have easily blocked David Miller, but I kept reading his messages, like some kind of self-torture, to remind myself of the lie I had been living for the past few years. I wiped away a flood of tears and put the ultrasound report away. I called the driver and told him I was going shopping and that he could go back first. I, meanwhile, sat numbly on the hospital bench, waiting for what was about to happen. Sure enough, not long after, David Miller sent me another message. This time, T was a video. Enjoy this. We're going to the hospital soon. The child you've waited 5 years for? She's desperate to get rid of that bastard. The video was an hour long and showed Sarah Evans in a state of extreme frenzy, with many adult toys scattered on the bed. I had never seen Sarah Evans so out of control. In our 5 years of marriage, Sarah Evans had always been gentle, even in bed, she was shy and reserved. It turned out she wasn't naturally composed, it was just that the person who could ignite her passion was never me. I watched the video as if punishing myself, wanting to see the side of Sarah Evans I had never known. I don't know how long passed before a nurse walked up to me. Sir, are you all right? Are you feeling unwell? It turned out that as the video played, I had been crying more and more. By now, I was trembling all over, my fingers shaking uncontrollably as I held the phone. Only now did I shamefully realize that I still loved Sarah Evans. She wasn't an object to be discarded when broken, nor was she a casual friend to simply cut ties with. She was a living person, my wife of 5 full years. Loving her had become an instinct deeply ingrained in my very being over those 5 years. For 5 years, everyone said she loved me fiercely, but hadn't I treated her the same way? 5 years of day and night companionship, I couldn't bear to lose it, I truly couldn't. Thinking of the peanut-sized child on the ultrasound report, I took a deep breath, fiercely wiped away my tears, and decided to give Sarah Evans one last chance. I called Sarah Evans. Sarah, are you done with work? I finished my checkup. Can you come back? Sarah Evans's voice was hoarse, as if she was suppressing something. Robert, I still have some things to do here. Have the driver take you back first. A muffled groan sounded, and the call was disconnected, leaving only the mechanical beeping. After a moment of stunned silence, I looked up at the waiting nurse beside I'm fine now. I'll leave. It was already dark when I got home. As soon as I opened the door, Sarah Evans came rushing towards me. The driver said you didn't come home after your checkup. Didn't you say you were going shopping? How come you didn't buy anything? She stopped mid-sentence, noticing my swollen eyes. What's wrong, Robert? Have you been crying? Why are your eyes so swollen? What happened? Tell me. I looked closely at her features. So beautiful, just like before, her eyes full of my reflection. Just as beautiful as her eyes in the video from this afternoon. I lowered my gaze, avoiding her worried look. It's nothing. Maybe I was just excited to see the baby on the ultrasound for the first time. Sarah, I miss Emily. I want to go see her. Emily said she'd send a plane to pick me up tomorrow night. Sarah Evans's shoulders relaxed slightly, as if relieved. She took my hand and led me to the sofa. I did some research. Pregnant women are supposed to be emotional due to hormone levels. How come you, the expectant father, are the one crying? Okay, it's good to see Emily. You two haven't seen each other in a while. My little crybaby, you're about to be a father and you still miss your sister. You go first. I'll finish up work in the next few days and come find you. I'll spend some quality time with you. Listening to Sarah Evans's concerned words, my heart sank further. Done some research? She must have experience. Pregnant woman? Can you still call yourself pregnant after having an abortion? But I didn't want to dwell on these things anymore. Perhaps because of the intense emotional fluctuations, my head was pounding. All I wanted was rest. Sarah, I'm tired. I want to rest. I must have been truly exhausted, as I slept until noon. To my surprise, Sarah Evans was still home. Seeing me wake up, Sarah Evans gently put her arms around my waist. People say pregnant women are sleepy, but I think you, the future daddy, are even more so. Look at my little lazybones, sleeping until now. Get up and eat something. We have a reception this afternoon, we'll go together. I calculated the time. Emily's plane was arriving tonight, so I still had time. To avoid arousing Sarah Evans's suspicion and to ensure my plan went smoothly, I nodded at her. As soon as we arrived at the banquet hall, we, predictably, became the center of attention. Mr. Adams is so lucky. Look at CEO Sarah Evans, still doting on Mr. Adams like he's the apple of her eye after so many years of marriage. Exactly. See, she takes Mr. Adams everywhere, afraid someone will snatch him away. Sarah Evans smiled, accepting the compliments, seemingly pleased by their words. Amidst the harmonious atmosphere, a greasy voice shattered the scene. Mr. Adams, as a grown man, why are you so clingy? Do you have to follow CEO Sarah Evans everywhere? Are you perhaps afraid you can't keep your wife in line, afraid someone will steal CEO Sarah Evans away? The speaker was none other than David Miller. Everyone present heard the hostility in his words, as David Miller's crush on Sarah Evans had been common knowledge in their circle. What does he mean by that? CEO Sarah Evans stolen by someone? Who is this someone? Is he talking about himself? How ridiculous. He shamelessly clung to CEO Sarah Evans back then, and she was so angry she bankrupted the Miller family. How dare he still talk nonsense here? Everyone knows CEO Sarah Evans detests men like him. Look at CEO Sarah Evans's face. I already feel sorry for David Miller. I ignored the onlookers' comments and Sarah Evans's darkening expression. I calmly took a glass of red wine from a passing server's tray. Mr. Miller, you seem very concerned about my wife. I'm almost starting to wonder if there's something going on between you. At my words, Sarah Evans's body stiffened, and she glared at David Miller as if she could eat him alive. A flicker of panic crossed David Miller's eyes. I was just joking. Mr. AMS, you're not that petty, are you? We're all men. Before he could finish, I abruptly splashed the entire glass of red wine onto his face. Let's assume you're telling the truth. Mr. Miller, you definitely came to the reception to drink, right? Then, please, drink up. Red wine covered David Miller's head and face, the crimson liquid dripping from his hair and running down his suit. Compared to me, dressed impeccably, he looked utterly pathetic. He stared at me, his eyes seemingly poisoned. Is this how the esteemed Mr. Adams, the husband of Evans Group's CEO Sarah Evans, treats others? Even if I misspoke, Mr. Adams, you didn't have to humiliate me like this, did you? Before I could reply, Sarah Evans pulled me behind her, shielding me. My husband can do whatever he wants. I, Sarah Evans, stand by him. Who dares say a word? As for you, what are you? How dare you question my husband? David Miller was taken aback, apparently not expecting Sarah Evans to be so ruthless. Sarah Evans then turned her gaze away. Mr. Miller, you may leave. Hearing Sarah Evans's dismissal, David Miller glared at me resentfully, then turned and left the banquet hall. David Miller was truly foolish. Challenging me in a setting like this? There was no way Sarah Evans would side with him. After all, I was the rightful husband. Sarah Evans looked at me with concern, just about to ask something when her phone rang. As soon as she left to take the call, my phone buzzed with a new message. Do you really think you've won? Guess who she'll choose this time, you or me? I lifted my eyes from my phone screen and saw Sarah Evans hurrying back to me. Robert, there's an international conference. I'll handle it in the car. I'll be back soon. My heart sank. I smiled and nodded. As soon as Sarah Evans left, another message arrived. This time, just 5 short words. Parking garage. At the same time, Emily's call came through. Robert, the plane is here. Let's go. Hanging up, I looked at the words on my phone screen and headed towards the parking garage. Of course I was going to leave, but I had a big gift to give Sarah Evans and David Miller first. In Sarah Evans's private parking garage, I spotted her Maybach instantly. The rear door of the Maybach was open, and a foot, as white as jade, dangled outside. The parking garage was quiet, and the low gasps of a man and the soft moans of a woman were clearly audible. The man's voice was thick with desire. Why were you so fierce with me just now? You scared me. You little minx, after being so fierce just now, why are you down here now? Sarah Evans's voice was so seductive it could melt your bones. Be good. As long as you don't provoke Robert, I'll give you anything you want. The man's movements grew more intense, and the woman's moans became clearer. I scoffed self-deprecatingly and turned to leave the parking garage. I didn't doubt that Sarah Evans loved me. 10 years couldn't be faked, her eyes couldn't be faked, and her kindness towards me certainly couldn't be faked. But that didn't stop her from seeking pleasure with another man at the same time, whispering sweet nothings in another man's ear, and moaning beneath another man. If that's how it is, I'm done. When I got home, I organized all the messages and photos David Miller had sent me during this time and printed them out in the study. I specifically deleted the message about her going to the hospital for an abortion. I put the remaining documents in the bedside table drawer. I wanted Sarah Evans to find these pieces of evidence herself after hearing of my death. I wanted her to see with her own eyes that I knew about her betrayal all along, yet I was willing to forgive her and pretended to be oblivious while staying by her side. I wanted her to live in guilt day and night, to wish she were dead. Having done all this, I took my ID and credit card and headed to the airport. Before boarding the plane, I sent her one last text message, the final B. Low to Sarah Evans. Sarah, I'm going to see Emily. When you're finished with work, bring the baby and come pick me up, okay? After sending this message, I took out my SIM card and broke it in half. Without looking back, I boarded the plane. Knowing I was on the plane, Sarah Evans was even more brazen and brought David Miller straight home. 3 hours later, I was resting with my eyes closed on the plane, completely unaware of the chaos that had erupted back home. Sarah Evans and David Miller were in the master bedroom, lost in passion, when the secretary frantically knocked on the door. Annoyed at being interrupted, Sarah Evans was irritated. She grabbed a pillow from the bed and threw it at the door. "Go away!" But the knocking didn't stop, it grew more insistent. Sarah Evans ran her fingers through her hair and yanked open the bedroom door. "You'd better have something important to say." Before she could finish, the secretary interrupted, his voice trembling. Mr. Adams's private plane crashed, fell into the sea." Sarah Evans froze, seemingly unable to believe what she had heard. The secretary's face was pale, his voice shaking more and more. "Search and rescue teams are already searching the sea, but..." This time, before the secretary could finish speaking, Sarah Evans's eyes rolled back, and she completely fainted. Since Sarah Evans woke up, she had been waiting by the sea, watching the search and rescue team work. The search lasted for 3 full days, but there were no results. Sarah Evans's face was ashen. She hadn't eaten or drunk anything for 3 days, and her body had long since reached its limit. The golden rescue period had passed long ago, and everyone knew what that meant. The search and rescue team looked at the woman before them with pity. After all, everyone knew that Sarah Evans loved her husband dearly. Now that her husband was dead, she looked like she had lost her soul. "CEO Sarah Evans, we've done our best. We really can't find any trace of Mr. Adams. The plane crashed into the sea, the probability of survival is almost zero. Continuing the search is pointless. CEO Sarah Evans, please accept our condolences." Before the search and rescue team could finish, Sarah Evans went wild and grabbed one of their collars. "Shut up! What are you? What do you mean it's pointless? My husband hasn't been found yet, how can it be pointless? Accept your condolences? Condolences for what? I'll kill you! I'll kill you!" Everyone was startled by Sarah Evans's sudden outburst and rushed forward to restrain her. But Sarah Evans suddenly went rigid. The next second, her knees gave way, and she collapsed to the ground, a large mouthful of blood spraying from her mouth. Everyone was terrified and rushed forward to help her up. But Sarah Evans pushed away the hands reaching for her, stumbled towards the sea, and kept mumbling, "Robert, don't be afraid, I'm coming to be with you." Inevitably, Sarah Evans was rescued. She woke up in the hospital. The first thing she saw was David Miller sobbing by her bedside. Sarah Evans's eyes were completely lifeless, as if her soul had been extracted. "Why did you save me? It would have been better to let me die, to let me go be with Robert." Hearing Sarah Evans's voice, David Miller suddenly looked up, then choked out, "How can you die? You still have me, and the child. If you're gone, what will we do? Sarah Evans, I'm telling you, if you die, I, David Miller, will not live alone." Sarah Evans's pupils finally focused, and her gaze slowly moved towards David Miller. She knew David Miller loved her. In the 5 years she desperately pursued Robert Adams, David Miller had also desperately pursued her. But at the time, she only had Robert Adams in her heart and mind. David Miller's love was persistent and obsessive. Even after she married Robert Adams, he kept looking for opportunities to interfere in her marriage. Tired of it, she directly caused the Miller family to go bankrupt. She thought this would make David Miller give up, but 4 years ago, David Miller walked into her office and looked at her with a resolute expression. "You love Robert Adams and have achieved your wish, while I love you and am only fit for ruin? I won't destroy your marriage, I just ask that you let me stay by your side." That time, Sarah Evans didn't resist, and so began the following 4 years. She knew how David Miller felt about her. Seeing the determination on David Miller's face now, Sarah Evans felt a touch of emotion. "What are you saying?" Seeing that Sarah Evans had finally responded to him, David Miller could no longer hold back his tears and cried uncontrollably. As soon as Sarah Evans woke up, she was impatient to leave the hospital. The secretary couldn't dissuade her and took her home. Upon entering the master bedroom, seeing the huge wedding photo hanging above the bed, the tears Sarah Evans had held back all the way finally streamed down her face. She couldn't forgive herself. Just thinking that she was fooling around with David Miller when Robert Adams had his accident made her want to kill herself. Robert Adams had always been afraid of water. How terrified he must have been when the plane crashed. Thinking of this, Sarah Evans felt a dull ache in her chest, almost making it impossible to breathe. She stared intently at the master bedroom bed. Everything on the bed had been carefully chosen by Robert Adams, and every corner of this house had been meticulously decorated by him. She grabbed the bed sheet and frantically threw the pillows and blankets onto the floor. "I'm an animal! I'm an animal! I'm the one who should be dead. It's me who should be dead." The secretary was startled by her sudden actions and quickly came forward to stop her. "CEO Sarah Evans, CEO Sarah Evans, it's not your fault. The plane crash was an accident. Don't be like this." In the struggle, the bedside table was knocked over, and the documents in the drawer scattered everywhere. Although she couldn't clearly see what was written on the documents, a chilling feeling inexplicably arose in Sarah Evans's heart. Her legs went weak, and she fell to the ground, crawling towards the papers on her hands and knees. She picked up the papers one by one and examined them, her hands trembling more and more. There were text messages, pictures, and even video screenshots. Every word on them pierced Sarah Evans's heart deeply. She clenched her teeth tightly and spoke, each word chillingly cold. "How dare he? David Miller! How dare he?" She stared intensely at every message in the pictures. The most recent one was received the day Robert Adams left. Parking garage. Suddenly, Sarah Evans's mind flashed back to the last text message Robert Adams had sent her. "Sarah, I'm going to see Emily. When you're finished with work, bring the baby and come pick me up, okay?" A sharp pain seized her heart. The pain came so fast and so strong, instantly invading her limbs and body. She clutched her chest, fell to the ground, and gasped for air. Her Robert, had known about her betrayal all along, had known she had a 3-year-old child. And on the day he left, he had even seen her and David Miller fooling around in the car. Her Robert, what kind of state of mind was he in when he printed these things, and what kind of state of mind was he in when he boarded the plane and sent her that message? He was waiting for her to see the evidence, waiting for her to apologize, waiting for her to bring the baby and pick him up. If it hadn't been for David Miller's repeated provocations, perhaps Robert wouldn't have wanted to go abroad to clear his head. Perhaps he wouldn't have boarded that fated plane. Thinking of this, Sarah Evans's eyes blazed with towering hatred. "Investigate! Go and investigate! Find out everything David Miller did to Robert during this time, find out every single detail." Watching the secretary hurry out, Sarah Evans slowly lowered her head and called David Miller. "Come keep me company." David Miller didn't think much of it, assuming Sarah Evans missed him. He happily went to her. "Sarah, don't be too sad. You still have me. I'll always be with you." Before he could finish, Sarah Evans grabbed his hair, stifling his words in his throat. Seeing the fierce look in Sarah Evans's eyes, David Miller finally felt afraid. "Sarah, what's wrong, Sarah? Don't you recognize me? It's David. Don't be like this, I'm scared." Sarah Evans's grip on his hair tightened sharply, and her voice was as cold as a demon from hell. "You're scared? You dared to provoke Robert behind my back, and you still know how to be scared?" David Miller's expression froze. He instinctively wanted to deny it, but Sarah Evans didn't give him the chance, forcefully shoving him to the ground. As he fell, David Miller saw the scattered documents on the floor, and his body began to tremble uncontrollably with fear. Seeing his reaction, Sarah Evans sneered. "Well done, David Miller, you've really done well. Didn't I always tell you that as long as Robert didn't find out, I'd give you everything you wanted? It seems I've been too good to you all these years, you've gotten bold. It seems you've forgotten how I bankrupted the Miller family, how I ruined your family." With the evidence laid bare, David Miller knew he couldn't argue. He could only cling to Sarah Evans's leg and beg pitifully. "Sarah, listen to me. I really didn't mean to, Sarah. I just heard you were pregnant, and I was so scared. I was afraid there would be no place for the child in your heart anymore, afraid you wouldn't look at me again. I know you love him, but I love you too, Sarah. You don't know how much I love you. I was just so afraid of losing you. Please, Sarah, forgive me, forgive me. Sarah Evans didn't want to hear any more. She kicked him away forcefully. Shut up. You didn't mean to? You sent him message after message, provoking and humiliating him, and you say you didn't mean to? David Miller, didn't you do all this just to drive Robert away, to make me marry you because of the child? Now you're scared? What about my Robert? How terrified must he have been when the plane crashed? David Miller shook his head repeatedly, unable to utter another coherent word. Just then, the secretary burst into the master bedroom, phone in hand. CEO Sarah Evans, we found out. Sarah Evans snatched the phone from the secretary's hand, her eyes fixed on the screen. After the checkup that day, Mr. Adams didn't leave the hospital. He stayed sitting on the hospital bench. We obtained the surveillance footage from the hospital. A while after you left, Mr. Adams received a message. It was from Mr. Miller, and the surveillance from the parking garage on the day of the reception. When you and Mr. Miller were in the car, Mr. Adams stood nearby for a long time before leaving. CEO Sarah Evans, you should see for yourself. The video on the phone showed footage from the hospital corridor. On a long bench, her Robert sat alone, staring blankly at his phone, crying harder and harder, his entire shoulders shaking. When the nurse walked up to him, his face was covered in tears, and he looked completely distraught. He seemed to have made a call, and after hanging up, he sat there looking desperate for a while longer before finally leaving the hospital, his face pale. Thinking of this, she frantically pulled out her own phone and looked through her recent call history, remembering that phone call. At that moment, Robert had given her one last chance, but she had been enticed by David Miller and was indulging in pleasure in bed. She abruptly turned her head and kicked David Miller again, hard. Good. David Miller, you're really something. All the hurt Robert suffered, all the pain he went through, I'll make you taste it all. As soon as Sarah Evans finished speaking, several people wearing white coats and moss hats walked in from outside the door. David Miller collapsed on the floor, backing away repeatedly, his voice full of terror. Sarah Evans, what are you doing? You can't do this to me. I'm your child's father. I raised your son all these years. You can't do this to me. Sarah Evans seemed not to hear him at all. She spoke in a cold voice. Drag him to the basement. Let him thoroughly enjoy your methods. You know better than I do how to torment someone. David Miller was dragged out, wailing, but Sarah Evans's face was icy, as if she couldn't hear his screams. Sarah Evans, you demon. You animal. Where were you when you were cheating? Now you want to pretend to be heartbroken? Robert Adams knew you had the abortion all along. He never planned to forgive you. I'm telling you. He didn't die in a plane crash at all. He deliberately killed himself. You're the murderer. Your betrayal was the fuse that killed him. David Miller was quickly dragged away, and the master bedroom returned to silence. Sarah Evans, however, remained motionless, her eyes fixed on her phone screen. After a long moment, she suddenly started crying and laughing like she was insane. Yes! The plane crash must be fake. Robert must not be dead. Robert Adams had always been proud. Otherwise, he wouldn't have refused her for 5 years because of their social disparity. There was no way he would easily kill himself just because his wife cheated. She understood Robert Adams just as he understood her. He knew she would never divorce him and let him go, which was why he came up with this plan. Book a flight! Book a flight for me immediately. I knew nothing of the chaos back home. At that moment, I was with Emily, discussing what to eat tomorrow. Since she learned about everything between Sarah Evans and me, Emily had taken a long leave to be with me, spending every day either planning activities or deciding what to eat. Just then, there was a knock on the door. When I opened it, a familiar figure knelt down. Robert, I've come to take you home. Before I could react, Emily's hand had already lashed out, slapping Sarah Evans hard. You slut! How dare you show up here? What solemn promises did you make to me back then? Is this how you took care of my brother? Sarah Evans was such a proud person, but now, facing Emily's repeated slaps, she didn't resist at all, only continuously apologizing. I'm sorry. I'm a slut, it's my fault. Please, I beg you, let me see Robert, let me say a few words to him. Hearing Sarah Evans's words, Emily's fists tightened even more. Don't call me M. I'm not your M. I grabbed Emily, stopping her slaps. Sarah Evans's face was covered in blood. Any more hitting and something serious would happen. You should leave. I have nothing to say to you. As soon as Emily stopped, Sarah Evans knelt up straight again. I won't leave. I came to take you home. You're my husband. If we go together. Hearing this, Emily was so angry she wanted to hit her again. I shook my head at Emily and then looked at Sarah Evans kneeling before me. I'm not your husband anymore. Have you forgotten my sister works for the security agency? Robert Adams died the day of the plane crash. The person standing here now has nothing to do with you. Sarah Evans remained kneeling straight, her expression showing no wavering. I sighed, but tears fell in large drops. Sarah Evans, do you remember what I said the day I agreed to be with you? 9. Epilogue. My tears fell onto Sarah Evans's hand. She flinched as if burned. I gently brushed the tears from my face and spoke, smiling. That day, I said, Sarah Evans, if you ever fall in love with someone else, it's okay. I only have one request. Don't lie to me. Just tell me honestly, and I won't cling to you. I'll leave on my own. But you broke your promise. You fell in love with someone else and lied to me. So, I left on my own. Sarah Evans's tense shoulders gradually slumped. No, Robert, I didn't fall in love with anyone else. I love you, I only love you. He seduced me. Her voice grew fainter and fainter, but her words made me laugh. Is that right? Maybe you do love me. But that doesn't stop you from sleeping around with other men, and it doesn't stop you from having a child with another man. He seduced you, and you just had to fall for it? Still making excuses? Sarah Evans, don't make me sick. Sarah Evans's eyes were red-rimmed. After a long silence, she spoke softly. I'm sorry. I scoffed again. Sorry? If you're truly sorry, then get out. Get far away and never disturb my life again, never appear before me again. Sarah Evans, I will never forgive you. I slammed the door shut, saying nothing more to her. I don't know when Sarah Evans left, only that when I opened the door the next day, the space outside was empty. For the next 6 months, I lived with Emily, as if I had returned to the time when we grew up relying on each other. Sarah Evans also did as I told her and never disturbed my life. Until one day, Emily and I were curled up on the balcony sofa, watching the night view, when Emily hesitated for a long time before speaking softly. They contacted me from back home. They said Sarah Evans died. Depression, suicide. They found a skeleton in the basement of her mansion. After identification, it was David Miller. According to them, not long after Sarah Evans returned, that child kept crying for his father. One night, he snuck out and was hit by a car and died. After that, Sarah Evans suffered from severe depression. Just yesterday, she jumped from a building. I gently rubbed the wine glass in my hand, unsure what to say. I had never blamed the child. I had seen him in the photo. He was a fair-skinned, cute little boy. I had to admit, as a father, David Miller was competent. He had raised the child well. Sarah Evans loved that child. The look in her eyes when she was with him was a tenderness I had never seen before. Unexpectedly, my tears fell into the wine glass, creating ripples. Emily's voice spoke softly again. Her funeral is the day after tomorrow. Do you want to go back? I gently shook my head. Go back for what? In what capacity? There was no need. Robert, do you still hate her? At that question, I froze. After a moment, I wiped the tears from the corners of my eyes and drank the wine in the glass in one gulp. Before I heard this news, I hated her. But now, death extinguishes all light. Past grievances are wiped clean. Half a lifetime in bloom, half in ruin. Sarah Evans. Goodbye. End of novel.